I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kiki.
And welcome to Trauma Time with the Soul Sisters.
So, we just kind of wanted to talk about how we got to where we are today with our relationship, because it has not always been like this.
No.
I used to dislike Kayla. Kayla used to just be a teenager and I just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I first met Kayla when I was 10 years old at my brother's football game. And I went up to her and my mom was like, "Oh, this is Kayla, your brother's girlfriend." And she looked at me and the first thing she said was, "You look so much like Colby." And I was just like, "Girl, you did not just say that." I was so mad. Little 10-year-old me.
I thought I was like breaking the ice, but apparently not.
Little 10-year-old me was so offended. And then she started coming around a lot more often. And at first I was like, "Oh yeah, like a new person." I was so excited. And then she started spending the night and I was like, my brother is literally 15 years old. Like, why is this homegirl spending the night? Little 10-year-old me just did not. I was innocent, to say the least.
Yeah, and obviously our parents weren't telling her everything at 10 years old. Like, they weren't like, "Oh, hey, this is Kayla and she's abused." Like, that's not how it worked, so.
So I was like, why is this girl spending the night? Like, she's just stealing my brother from me. I was so mad. And I was like, she's stealing my family. Like, they're taking all of my attention and giving it to her. I was so mad. But, like, looking back on it now, I'm so glad that this happened. But, eventually, like, she started spending, like, vacations with us. Like, she would go to our vacation home, and I was just like, "Girl, why are you here?"
Yeah, for those of you that don't know us or our family, that's not normal. Like, you don't go to the Pink House unless you're special and, like, very special. Like, dating for, like, 3 years, probably gonna get engaged soon special, so.
Yeah, what she said. So she was, like, going to our vacation house, and I was confused. And then, we got a text one day. And I didn't know, like, all the details. I knew that Kayla was going to move in with us. I didn't know all of the details because, like Kayla said, I was 10, so I was not told everything. And I got a text one day after school, and my mom said, "You have a new sister." And I was like, "Mom, you can't have kids."
Some of this stuff I've never heard before, so this is great.
I was like, "Mom, you can't have kids. Like, what do you mean I have a new sister?" And she was like, "She's 17 years old, blah, blah." And I was like, this bitch? Like... Come on, this girl's my new sister. I was so mad. And there was a long period of growth, like, in our entire family. A lot of spending time apart in our bedrooms so that we didn't eat each other's faces off. Because it's hard to just throw in a 17-year-old girl with trauma into a tight-knit triplet kind of situation, because me and my brothers, we were all that we had. We, like, never saw, like, any of our cousins. No, we saw, like, our extended family, but it wasn't as often as,
we live
like,
further apart and stuff. It wasn't like they live right next door.
Exactly.
So.
It wasn't as often as, like, some people see their cousins or, like, extended family where it's like a brother-sister relationship. Like, the only brother-sister relationship we had was with each other. And we would do everything together. We would play sports together. We would go to races together, like to barrel races and shows. Literally everything we did as a family. And then they just threw this girl into the mix. And I was like, what is she doing? Who does she think she is? Why is this going on? And so I was angry about it. Colby was happy because he was like, heck yeah, my girlfriend lives with me. And CJ was just kind of like chilling. He was like, okay, this is fine. And then I kind of realized, like, oh, like, this girl, she's been through some stuff. Like, I knew her mom had died, and I knew that, like, her dad wasn't in the picture, but I didn't know why she had moved in with us at first. I was just kind of like, oh, she just wants to be here all the time, because that's normally the case for everybody. Everybody just wants to be at our house all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, she just likes being here. Mom and Dad it's, like, Colby's first real girlfriend. Like, they're just letting her be here. And that was very much not the case. And literally every time I think about how much I hated Kayla, I feel so guilty. Because I'm like, oh, I didn't give this girl the benefit of the doubt, like, thinking, maybe there's something going on in her life.
Well, you were 10, yeah, so there's that.
So I was little. And then flash forward, like, a year and a half,
And I also want to say that, like, from my perspective, I never hated Kiki, but I did think which is weird. It's ironic to think now because after hearing her perspective, it was almost like we both thought the same thing about each other. But I thought she was just, like, overly babied and, like, if she, like, looked at someone the wrong way, like, she got, like, oh, Kiki, what's wrong? Are you in a bad mood? How can I fix it? You want to go to get ice cream? Like, that's how I felt like it was. And until I came along, she was the only girl, and she still is the baby girl. So obviously, to an extent, that's probably true. But yeah, so it was very weird because I never hated Kiki, but I was annoyed by her quite often. But yeah, you can go back to where you're going.
Bye, Jerome.
Bye.
But then, like, a year later, because you went to basic between your junior and senior year, so it wasn't even a year and a half. It was like 6 months to a year. She went to basic training, and I was like, I kind of miss having her around. Like, she was my only, like, escape from, like, my brothers.
2 boys.
Yeah. Like, she would be the reason that they wouldn't throw, like, dirt at me. They'd be like, hey, no, don't do that. And then they would question her, like, why? Because she's a girl. She doesn't want to get dirty. And she would, like, yell at Colby if he yelled at me when I was little. She still does. But he would, like, be in a bad mood, and she'd be like, don't take it out on her. She doesn't deserve it. And then I started to realize, like, oh, this girl had a really, like, positive impact on me as a 10-year-old. And she left for basic, and I was like, she's gone for my birthday. I was so mad. I was like, the first birthday you have with me, and you're not even here. But she wrote me this cute little, like, happy birthday card of the markers that she bought at, like, the basic training store or whatever while she was there. And I still have it, because that's how much it meant to me. I still have the little paper that says happy birthday, and it was my 11th birthday. It was a big deal. And then she came home, and I was the first person to hug her. Because you know how they do, like, you have to stand in parade, right? That's at rest.
Parade rest, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
You're close.
You have to stand like that until one of your family members touches you. So I bolted to find Kayla because I knew exactly where she was. And I was like, Kayla! And I ran up and hugged her. And I was the first person. Colby was dating her at the time, and he wasn't even the first person. I felt so special.
I'm pretty sure he was the last. I'm pretty sure it was you, CJ, Nicole, and Mom, and then Colby, and then Dad.
And then she came home, and then she just went back to school. And I was like, we didn't get any time with you. Like, you just came home and you're just starting a normal life again. And then she was leaving for college the year after that. And so it was just like, we didn't have her. Like, she was our sister, but we didn't have her for long. She started adulting as soon as we got her.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then when she left for college, that's when I was kind of like, oh, she's not too bad. Like, she was some nice company. She was a good secret keeper. A lot of that stuff. And so I was like, I kind of miss her, whatever. I would text her every now and then. I didn't add her on any social medias because we weren't at that level yet. But I definitely kind of missed her at that point. And then freshman year was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she came home one day and she was like, oh, Mom, Dad, and me and Jerome are going to dinner. I was like, okay, see ya. And she came home and Mom and Dad were like, oh, there's going to be some vacancies in the house. And I was like, what? Like, are you going to pull out a picture of a house right now? Like, did you and Jerome buy a house together? Like, you just met this man? Like,
4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, yep.
I was like, you're already buying a house with somebody you've only known for 4 months. I was like, okay, whatever, you do you. I kind of questioned her sanity at that point. But then she pulled out a picture of an ultrasound. And I was like, oh, shit. She's having a kid. And then I was like, wait, why is there going to be vacancies if there's going to be an extra one? And then, because, you know, Harvard. And then she was like, oh, by the way, we're moving to an apartment. And I was like, oh, that's why there's going to be a vacancy. Because you're moving out. You're not having to get here. And this switch just kind of flipped. And it was just like, oh, I have to start, like, preparing to be a role model to somebody who's smaller now. And so Scarlett has a lot to do with why we are so close, because when I found out she was pregnant, I was like, oh, I have to make sure that she's comfortable and she has everything she needs to, and that we do whatever she needs for her. And I was kind of like, and now I'm gonna be a real role model for a tiny human being, and I can't mess that up by hating the mom. So then I was like, okay. So then Kayla and I got really close really quickly. I don't really know how it happened. We just kind of...
No, I think it would definitely, like, started because of Scarlett. Like, you were going to be her auntie, and, like, that was a big deal.
Oh, and then you asked me to be her godmother.
Yep.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she asked me to be her godmother, and I was like, oh my god, like, she doesn't hate my guts. Like, she actually wants me to be a part of this child's life.
And me, in, like, the background of all of this time, after, like, Kiki turned, like, 13, it turned into, like, I was less annoyed by her, but, like, there was, like, the age gap was just difficult to navigate still, because I thought I was, like, hot shit, 19 years old, I could do what I want, I was a badass, whatever. And then, like, I wanted to be in Kiki's life more, but I also didn't, like, know how to navigate what was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate at that time to, like, include her in. Like, I didn't know how to be a big sister because I never was one, and I didn't ever have a big sister that showed me how to do that. But that was, like, the hardest part, too, is I think that, like, when Scarlett was born and that happened is, like, the older you got, the less the age gap was, like, a big deal, too.
Yeah.
So...
Like, I forget how much older she is than me sometimes, and I'm just like, oh yeah, she's like my best friend, my other half, my sister, whatever. And people ask me, like, oh, how old is she? I'm like, I don't know. And I do the math, and I'm like, oh, she's 24. 24.
Yeah, and for me, it's the opposite. They'll be like, oh, how old is Kiki? And I'll be like, oh shit, she's 17. Maybe I should have said that, but...
But yeah, when she got pregnant, that was when everything kind of turned around. And then I went through, like, my first, like, real relationship, and she was the person that I went to with everything, all the questions I had, like, every curiosity, everything. She was the person who bought me my first condom. And she literally, when we broke up, she was there for me. And then when I started dating this new boy, she was also there for me. But she also was like, have some fun in between. Like, you gotta do you, man. Like, just do whatever you want. Nobody can judge you for how you cope. And so then, Scarlett was born at that point. Scarlett was almost 1 at that point. And I just spent, like, the rest of the summer with Scarlett and Kayla. And I spent a lot of time here and at the beach and at Cindy's pool, our neighbor's pool. And we just got, like, really close. And then I went back to school. And I was like, wow. Like, this sucks not being able to see Kayla every day. And I was so sad because she was just, like, not there. So I would text her and be like, I miss you. And then we just kind of, like, became obsessed with each other. And now we're inseparable.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's my side anyways.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's all what happened, minus, like, I never really hated Kiki. I was just annoyed with her, but,
I thought she hated me.
No, I never did, but, yeah, I think it was just a big mix of between, like, Scarlett being born and, like, Kiki being there for her, and, like, obviously we spent a lot more time together because of that, and then also, like, as you get older, like, there's no difference between a 30 and a 36-year-old, like, they might have a few life experiences, but, like, mature-wise, there isn't really that big of a difference, so as Kiki's gotten closer to 18, it's been, like, less of, like, she's my little sister, and more of, like, what she said, she's my best friend, and then, like, the other thing that I think connected us so much is, like, when you lost Kai and stuff like that, like the traumas are not the same, not even remotely, but they're, like, there's always similarities in it, and, like, there's always similarities in any type of loss, so we kind of, like, I was able to help her, and then I'm also, like, just starting now to kind of, like, really process everything that's happened to me my whole life and try to heal from it, and she was there for me to, like, bounce things off of too, and to vent too, and stuff like that, so yeah,
especially when Kai died. I remember somebody said to me, oh, don't cry, like, she's better off now, and I just wanted to look at them and be like, fuck you. But Kayla looked at me and she was like, just cry whenever you need to, your feelings are valid. And that, I've used that phrase ever since then. Your feelings are valid, because it changed my perspective.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
that's our story. That's where we came from and where we're at, and yeah.
That's why we're besties.
Yeah, besties. We thought it was important for you guys to, like, understand the relationship, too, because, like, we are not a normal sister relationship.
No.
By any means. Like, of course, there are sisters out there that hate each other, and there are sisters out there that are super close and whatever, but it's, like, it's different. It's almost like we were sisters, and now we're friends, like, best friends, and then sisters, like, first. Like, it's weird. But it's kind of, like, how it is, so.
But it's not even, like, she doesn't lie to me about stuff. Like, if I'm doing something stupid, she's real with me. And, like, if she says something that bothers me, I'm real with her. Like, it's not that, like, best friend kind of relationship where you just, like, compliment everything that each one does.
Yeah.
Like, if I fuck up, she's like, Cameron, that was dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been, like, a whole process to navigate, too, because we both have tried to, like, had to figure out, like, the appropriate and, like, okay way to kind of be like, yeah, that's a bad idea, or, like, this is annoying me, or something like that, because obviously everybody gets offended if you say, like, oh, this pissed me off. Everybody is going to be, like, mad about it and stuff like that, but, yeah, I'm very grateful for that, and I think that is to an extent in what some ways, like, sets us apart from other sister pairs or friend pairs, is that, like she said, if I say something critiquing, because I am still older and there are some things that I have a little bit more experience in, and then I can try to guide her in the right way, and it's not always what she wants to hear, or what she thinks is the best thing. And then on the opposite end of that, like, she is so good at putting me in check when I'm, like, either being obsessive about something, or, like, just, like, I've literally...
Do you still love me?
Yeah. Or I've literally, like, texted her and been like, this is what's happening, please just tell me I'm crazy, and she'll be like, yes, you're crazy, you're acting ridiculous right now, you need to stop, and it's just like, okay, good, moving on. So, I think that that's different, because in a normal sister dynamic, I think there would be a lot more arguments in those types of situations.
We don't argue, we just have, like, constructive conversations.
Right. And then we take a break for a couple hours. And
then we're like, hey, I miss you.
Yeah, so.
But that's our story.
Mm-hmm.